Hey! So this video is for myself, but I was thinking if other people have the same needs as me, maybe you'd be interested in doing this for yourself as well. So there's a guy in my life that has been complete. Look at my hair, it just keeps going wrong. Excuse my looks. Right, so there's a guy in my life that has been absolutely confusing. I just need to put my phone on charge. Hold on a minute. What have I done with my lead? Let's put my phone on charge so that it doesn't die on me. Okay, so I went to a women's refuge to get rid of a guy that was controlling me, being violent, abusive. Every time I tried to leave his company, he'd smash things up. And he's been appalling in every sense. But my spirit kept saying that how he's acting isn't the true him, and it was saying don't believe what you're seeing. So anyway, I gave him chances, and then I had to give him chances. There's no other way around it. He kept showing up, kept stalking me. I kept breaking up with him, and he'd come find me. So the only way to actually get away from him was to go to a women's refuge, which I did for 4 months. And I strengthened myself while at the women's refuge, and I realised that I'd been needy before. So the reason how I'd managed to let him creep back into my life was my neediness, to want to be loved, want to have someone to love me. And he would send me all these lovely messages all the time saying that he loved me and needed me. And the thing is, it's all on his terms. If it was all on his terms, and he didn't take my needs into account at all. So when I needed to go to hospital, for instance, he'd say I was abandoning him. If I wanted to go home to my flat, I wasn't allowed to, even to get a change of clothes. So sometimes I had to wear the same clothes every day. And I had to climb out of the window one time to get away while he was asleep, and then had nowhere to go or think of what to do. So I ended up just going back again, and saying that I'd gone out to get breakfast things. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is that when he'd come and found me every time that we broke up because of his bad behaviour, he would say he was sorry and say he was a new person. and because I guess I just hoped that he was a new person, I hoped that he was going to be different. So anyway, when I went away to the refuge, I still loved him, and I cried every night being away. I brought myself a teddy bear and cuddled it, and I cried for 2 weeks solid. I cried non-stop because I missed him, and I was away from everything, and the environment was different. And then after 2 weeks, I went ill, so that was distracting. And so I was distracted, just trying to get myself well. And gradually, I learnt to find myself. And so by the time 4 months had come along, I wasn't needy anymore. I was strong. And I thought, I don't need a man in my life. Who needs a man? If they're no good for us. And so I decided what I want in a man, if a man's going to be in my life. And I already had done that all my life. I already knew what I wanted, and every time I met a guy, every time they was interested in me, I would say what my needs were and how I wanted to be treated. And of course they'd all say, oh, I can be like that, yes, that's me. And they were just liars, tricksters. They just wanted me in their life, but they didn't want to fulfill my needs, my expectations for a relationship. So anyway, it was the same with this last guy. Anyway, I returned from the refuge hoping that he wouldn't find me, hoping that I could hide out in my flat. But he'd stalked me. while I was away. So for 4 months, he had stalked my flat, and he'd come to my flat every day, rang the buzzer every day, waited on the doorstep every day. And so when I did come back, he knew, because he'd come by every day. So he knew the day that I'd come back, and he waited outside 3 hours. And I hid inside, but I needed gas and electric, so I ended up having to confront him. And luckily the police arrived at the same time, and they cautioned him and said it was stalking, that him waiting outside, and that he was not to do that again. Anyway, he said he was a new person, that he'd had counselling for 4 months. So I wanted to see how the counselling had worked, and if it had worked, and if he was a new person. And so and because obviously I loved him, and all his behaviour was the reason why I wasn't wanting to be with him, because of his behaviour. But if his behaviour improved, then of course I would want to be with him. So so I gave him a chance to show me this new personality, and it's been a month, and these are my observations. So he hasn't, the things that I wanted for him to prove to me that he's a new person was for him to not to swear in my company or talk sexual in my company, and not to keep going on about sexual stuff, and also if he wants to see me, to wash before he sees me, because he's always filthy, because that's the job he does. He's filthy, but he just would treat me as if it was okay for him to come see me, have a bath at my place, and get changed at my place, or just stay wearing the same dirty clothes, which I don't want. And then he'd help himself to my food. Or if I was at his place, it wasn't his place, he lived with his mum, and I said that I wanted him to be independent, that I don't want him to be, living off of his mum or living off of me. And anyway, so what I've noticed in the month that I've been back, he's still being very needy. He wants to be in my company every second. And I don't want to be in his company every second, because I want to have a life. And while I was away at the refuge, I had a life. I was doing the things that I wanted to do. And so that isn't good. He's being needy. I'm not needy. I don't need him in my life anymore. But he's been very, very needy. And saying that, all he wants in his life is me. But if he wants me in his life, then, do the things that are important to me. Listen to what I say. He doesn't tune in to what I say. So once again, I think I'm kind of being an object still, in that in his brain he wants me, but he's not listening to what I want. So he's going to lose me again. Even though I said I'm not his girlfriend, I'm making it clear. I'm seeing him and I'm being close to him, but I'm not saying that I'm his girlfriend until he meets all my requirements, which is to give me space. Because he brought a SIM for my phone, because I didn't want to use my number to phone him. I didn't want him to know my number, because he can become harassing and constantly text and constantly call. So I said, I'm not going to give you my new number. And so he said he'd go and buy a SIM and put it in another phone that I had, which I've let him do. And now that has expired, and he wants me to pay for it to continue, which is obviously not fair on me, is it? Because it's him trying to impress me, and so for me to say to pay to be in contact with him isn't what I want, and I don't want him to be using me as a resource still. And so he's still wanting me to be in contact with him all the time, and he's been sending text messages, quite a lot of text messages, and if I don't respond straight away, he's doing what he used to do is, what have I done? Have I done something wrong? And then, and he'll know that I'm with family, or that I'm doing something. He'll know, and I'll tell him that I'm with family. I can't text while I'm with family, and he'll still do it. And then, he used to call me all the time, and I said, look, don't call me all the time, especially when you know that I'm with family. I'm not going to be able to answer. Because he's meant to be impressing me, and none of my family want me to be with someone that's beaten me up and abused me and controlled me. So my family want to keep me safe. So my situation at the moment is, when I'm not with him and when I'm with my family, he's still tried to ring me up to 30 times in a go, which is ridiculous. So he's got issues. The counselling hasn't covered neediness, obviously, and they don't give any more counselling. The counsel that he received was for bereavement and to understand that when he lost his dad, that his behaviour became unruly, and so he's been helped to understand that he had been controlling and that his controlling behaviour was wrong. But he doesn't realise he's still acting that way, and I don't want to I just don't want to be an object to someone. I want to have a life. So I've written down things that matter to me and to remind myself. And I think I'm going to put that in the next video, because I just wanted to rant in this one and then make everything clear in the next video of how I want to be treated. And so I've written on some envelopes, some nice bright coloured envelopes. You see, I've yellow. Look, there's all a bundle of nice coloured envelopes, and I've written on the fronts of them. I've put my name and my needs matter. Then I've put how I want my home to be, and then I've put down my beliefs matter, and another one I've put down my partner expectations matter, and another one my health matters, my rules matter. And basically I want to remind myself so that I don't fall into this trap of accepting something that I don't want, because I feel like I'm being pushed into a trap of fulfilling someone else's needs that aren't my needs, that are not what I need. I do not need a clingy, needy person that wants every second of my time. He's doing things for me. He's fixing up a car for me, but he said he's doing that because he beat me up. But the thing is, I don't want to be involved with car stuff, because that's when I met him. It's been 2 to 3 years of just cars, non-stop car talk, and he's filthy all the time from it, and it's like a way of having a hold over me. And that's what it seemed like, that he'd take a long time, like 2 years to do a car, so that you're staying in his life. And I didn't even ask for any cars to be done. The car that he's doing. So and he's not expanding himself. He's not interesting himself in my interests. So he does have ADHD, so it is hard for him to concentrate. So I've been trying to teach him, and I've come up with an idea of like an egg timer thing, where we take turns having discussions about things that matter to us. So because he talks non-stop, and it's all car stuff, or all him begging me to accept him, and I just don't need to hear that. I love things like family history. I love arts and crafts. I love travelling. I love going out. I love swimming. I love exercise things. I love writing. I love trying to write music, or lyrics. I love sewing. And all he wants to do is just sleep on me, or watch a movie. And this doesn't fulfill my needs. I don't want to spend all my time with someone that's basically sleeping on my shoulder, or wanting to make out with me, or just interested in cars. Anyway, that's me ranting, and he has improved. He's made big improvements. He hasn't been violent. He hasn't smashed anything up. He hasn't been stalking me, harassing me. When I've not been seeing him for 4 days at a time, and he's obeyed that. So I'd see him on like 3 days, but on those 3 days he's really needy, and he still wants me to be in a lot of contact on the other 4 days. But he's trying to impress me. That's why I'm having a gap. And I want to be impressed. I don't want him to just come round and eat all my food and just expect me to just be the one that gives. Anyway, help me out here. Is this a problem that you're having? This is someone that wants to come back into my life, that I've pushed out of my life. And so it might have to mean that I go back to a refuge. I'm hoping to have somewhere else to live. But he can be lovely. But I wish that he would listen to my needs. I don't want to be a sex object. And I want to be going out. I want to be going on my bike, having a bike ride. I want to be in nature. I want to do my YouTube videos. And yeah, anyway, see how things go. End of month 1. I'll keep you updated. So in the next video, I'm going to remind myself of my needs and all the things I just mentioned just now. Anyway, over and out. Bye for now.